Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Omar Khalid. But today is the 26th of February 2025. These are the stories that we'll try to highlight and understand during the course of the show. We'll begin with the National Crypto Council that the government is thinking on establishing. And this is a very important step in the right direction because of all the digital currencies that are prevalent across the world, and Pakistan will also be part of those. This happened in a meeting that was chaired by the Federal Minister for Finance, Mr. Mohammad Aurangzeb, and of course it also included President Trump's advisors for digital assets, Minister of State for IT and Telecom, Shahzad Fatma Khaja, Governor, State Bank, Secretary Finance and Secretary IT and Telecom. And many important methodologies around this very council were discussed and how to move forward in that direction. We'll be highlighting that because it's a very interesting subject to decipher in our first segment. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns Pakistan-Uzbekistan trade ties. Now we know our Prime Minister is in Uzbekistan and he has had a very successful trip to Uzbekistan following his trip to Azerbaijan. And in Uzbekistan also a lot of important trade discussions have happened between both the countries, and a lot of important MOUs and agreements have also been signed between both the countries. Also the link between Uzbekistan, Afghanistan and Pakistan has also been discussed in detail. That and more will be discussed in our second segment. Then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about thousands of Canadians who have now signed a petition to revoke Elon Musk's Canadian citizenship. Well, he is a Canadian American national, and now following all that has happened between Canada and the US, a lot of Canadian citizens are irked by this, although there might not be any tangible result as far as this is concerned, but nevertheless it does invoke the Canadians' wrath and shows on another level on how the Canadians are not happy with Elon Musk. Finally, a PACE telescope is going to explore what happened right after the Big Bang. We all know the theory of the Big Bang that the scientists talk about on how the universe started with this Big Bang. Now to see what happened after this Big Bang, how was the universe created, how were the different galaxies created, and how was our own solar system and our Earth also created, will be part of that very discovery. It's a very interesting topic, mind you, and we'll be discussing that as part of our last story. Let's begin with our first segment, and that concerns the National Crypto Council that might be established by the government in the coming days. This was discussed during a very important meeting that included the Minister for Finance, Aurangzeb Sahab, Minister for IT, Trump's advisor on digital assets, and of course the Governor, State Bank, and many others. We've got two people to discuss more on that with us in the studios. We've been joined by Dr. Nasir Iqbal. He's a leading economist. Nasir Sahab, thank you very much to have joined us. And we're also being joined by Dr. Vaqar Ahmed, who's a senior economist online. Dr. Vaqar, also thank you very much to have joined us. We'll begin in fact with you, Dr. Nasir. Dr. Nasir, the finance division, and in fact we wouldn't have known had the finance division not taken out the statement in detailing the establishment or the idea to establish a National Crypto Council is concerned. They say it is to ensure that Pakistan's digital asset ecosystem evolves in a secure, in a compliant and in a sustainable manner. How important is this, that this evolution of Pakistan's digital ecosystem in a proper manner?
I think it is a very right step to be upfront, because we are already late in this digital economy, and the future is basically a digital economy. And the finance minister's statement that we will go for that is a very positive initiative, and I must encourage all stakeholders to come and make a very thorough discussion on it, what kind of ecosystem we are looking for, how we can devise those ecosystems, what kind of regulation we are looking for. Because the developed countries are already on this phase and they are aggressively working on this type of ecosystem, but we are lagging. Despite having a strong penetration of these kind of digital currencies in our country, we don't have any legal coverage, any legal method, any regulation to regulate this phenomena. But there is no avoidance. You can't avoid. This is a reality and we have to accept this reality. We have to accept this reality 4 years before, but now it's too late.
Better late than never,
Yeah, it's never late, but it's still a good initiative, and finance minister should take a very bold decision on it. And I must encourage that when designing this council, they should consider professional rather than bureaucrats.
All right.
Because this is a very technical subject and we need expert those knows Pakistan ecosystem, those knows international digital system.
Who can compare Pakistan's
Yes.
system to their system and
Yes.
try to improve Pakistan's
Yes.
digital ecosystem as
We
well.
need a system that is beneficial for Pakistan, because this is a time that we start negotiating with the world community.
That
with
is
the
a very
world
important,
leader.
but we need to start discussing with the world community on our digital ecosystem, and we need to evolve our very own. We've been joined by Dr. Vaqar. Ahmed is a leading economist as well. Dr. Vaqar, thank you very much to have joined us. The government that is, considering to establish a national crypto council says it will serve as a dedicated advisory body and will comprise of key government representatives, regulatory authorities and industry experts. It will oversee policy development in the digital realm. It will address regulatory challenges and ensure that Pakistan's digital asset ecosystem evolves in a secure manner. It will also collaborate with the friendly countries in this very manner. How do you view these objectives of this council?
Thank you, Omar Saab. I think this has been in long time coming. There have been suggestions to this as well as the past government. I'm glad that they have been decisive about it. SECP had been requested long ago. The central bank had been requested long ago to such a consultative forum so that recommendations, concrete recommendations could be submitted in this direction. Now, one has to really look at the timing. The timing is very important when the entire world is in search of alternate asset classes. There is distrust on traditional asset bases as well as the reserve currencies, including the US dollar, the way they are valued, the way countries from where these assets originate, the way those countries manage those assets. So in such times, it is becoming extremely important that countries such as Pakistan, countries who have foreign exchange reserves deficit, they should also remain on the lookout for alternate assets, not just at a macro level, but at a micro level.
I think that's very important, and as you have said, and Dr. Nasir has also said the same thing, it was a long time coming, but it has come at the right time and it should now evolve. We should move in the right direction as far as our digital ecosystem is concerned. Coming back to you, Dr. Nasir, the participants, as far as this meeting is concerned, where this establishment of the National Crypto Council was also discussed, they talked about global evolution of cryptocurrency. They talked about the increasing adoption of cryptocurrency by people all across the world, and the regulatory frameworks that are being implemented internationally as well in that respect, in line with US government policies, because of course Trump's special advisor was also there. Deliberations that are focused on financial security, risk mitigation, potential impact of digital assets on Pakistan's economy. These are all extremely important subjects. We can do a show on only one of these topics. But coming to these pointers, how do you see these points of discussions, and how can they be properly integrated whenever a National Crypto Council is established?
If we look into the international community, they are working on this direction, and there is not a single country that is left behind in terms of cryptocurrency and other digital economy, because the future is basically a digital economy. We are moving very fast toward the cashless economy, and the future and all kind of transaction would link with the virtual kind of money, and that is the time. You just said that the US also thinking and propagating the regulation and the system that could give a leverage to other countries, and just like the friendly country. But as a Pakistani, we must think twice while negotiating and establishing these rules and regulations, because we have the different dynamics. We have been struggling with the informal economy, we have been struggling with the money laundering.
Which is a huge, just the informal economy is a huge topic.
Yeah, we have struggling with the capital flight. These are all the concerns, and we must consider all these concerns, and that's why I said earlier that we should be very vigilant, and we should recruit highly professional people in this council. If we left with the bureaucrat or other like people, those have a general knowledge, we might end up with the same situation.
No, I think this is what they have said, industry experts will be included in this.
It's not only the industry, we should make it a very professional. The people who are working over the last 10 to 15 years
in this very realm.
Because this is an entire new technology, and we should be very clear on this. Is the last time for us to make a good deal.
True.
We must negotiate with a global partner on the right form of regulation, because we have a different needs, we require different setup, we have to make an indigenous setup. If we only and we have like a foreign type of model, maybe we end up with the loss.
We need to have a model that is Pakistan specific,
Yes.
and caters to the Pakistani market, but also has all the important regulations and rules that cater to the international community
Absolutely
as well.
true.
I agree. Dr. Vaqar, coming to you, our finance minister during the meeting talks about the importance of a well-regulated digital asset framework. And he says we need to align Pakistan with the international best practices and also comply with the FATF guidelines. Now, how important is it for Pakistan to align itself with all of that? Specifically, I'd like to refer to FATF.
Yes, I think so. Nobody will differ with what the FM is saying. He is spot on in suggesting this. And of course, given that we have very stringent oversight of FATF as well as the Asia Pacific group, of course, IMF is also looking at financial integrity issues. So we need to be very mindful. But this shouldn't take a lot of time. I don't want, if you ask my personal opinion, I don't want that in search of best practices, this council should take too much time. Countries have already done that. Countries are in the business of trading digital assets in a very prudent manner, in very credible manner. We just need to copy how those countries have done it, and they continue to do, and people continue to invest in digital assets hosted by those countries. So as Dr. Nasir was, we don't want that this momentum should be lost to any bureaucratic inertia.
I totally agree with you on that, because we need to move forward in a very robust manner. Dr. Nasir, our finance minister also talks about the government's commitment to explore the digital assets and integrate blockchain technology. That is also something that has been a long time coming as part of its broader strategy to modernize the financial sector. I hope this happens sooner than later, because I'm very excited as one to see how this develops. He also talks about various stakeholders, including foreign and domestic investors who have already developed product-ready digital asset solutions. That is something that you have already alluded to. That, he says, could be explored within a regulatory sandbox. Can these product-ready digital asset solutions be quickly applied within the Pakistani market, or in your point of view, could they take a bit of time?
Let me make it upfront that we already in this phase of using all kind of digital currency.
All right.
As you maybe like noted that around 20 million people are actively using these kind of cryptocurrency. They have all kind of coins and something like that. So this implies that we are already in the boat. Now we have to make our journey a peaceful and a win-win situation. For that, we have to create an ecosystem that not only protect our interests, but also integrate with the rest of the world. Because look at the example of UAE, look at the example of Singapore, look at so many other countries. They adopted these kind of systems despite having all kind of concern, because otherwise you will be left, and then after 10 years, 15 years, then you will stuck with your own circumstances. That's why we have to be more vigilant, we have to be forthcoming, and the council should play a key role in terms defining this entire setup. If we left with the Ministry of Finance, if we left with the State Bank, if we left with the other regulatory body, maybe we end up with the same kind of situation that we have SOEs and other regulatory body, that they are creating extra type of burden on the consumer, and they are not looking the way how we can facilitate this environment. Because if we have a strong clutches, maybe then we will end up with a capital flight, because the people have an alternative currency available to them, they can easily trade. For that, we have to make a very strong, robust system where we can protect our investor, where also we have to make investment in our local economy to provide an alternative solution to these economies. We have a lot of people, those are working in these blockchains, in these kind of currencies, we can learn from them. There are PIDE hosted one-day seminar where we discuss all these points like 6 months back, where a couple of people from Pakistan, now they are working Singapore and other countries, those are very well established people in these type of technologies. We must ask them to give us solutions that is linked with the Pakistani economy. So that could be a way forward for us.
All right, all right. Coming to you, Dr. Vaqar, I'd like to understand, as Dr. Nasir also alluded to, the 20 million active users as far as the digital asset market in Pakistan is concerned. Our finance minister also talks about the different challenges that they are facing that include high transaction fees, and this comes as an official statement. Now, challenges such as these, can they be alleviated through certain measures that this council could put forward? And if so, what kind of measures are needed in your point of view?
Yes. So I think to start with, a stronger public-private dialogue is required. It's not that Pakistani nationals are new to crypto. As you rightly pointed out, you have studies of Pakistanis who are trading, who are active users of this currency. And we know that the value that these Pakistanis are trading is north of almost 18 billion US dollars, So this is not a small amount. And if you have Pakistanis with this kind of experience who are trading these currencies, it's all a matter of government having a dialogue with those who are handling this kind of amount, So they already have the endowment of knowledge that goes into managing this asset. The important part is that this can only be one of the classes, asset classes that the central bank or our financial regulator manages. So there is capacity required over there as well for regulatory oversight. So while, of course, public-private dialogue is important, what will happen is that eventually there will be an SRO that will allow use of these digital currencies. But then once the currencies are in place, once these crypto or other assets are in place, the regulator needs to be smarter than the market, That's what anybody would like to see, that there's no misuse. So I see this as a three-step process, and I see this sooner than later.
All right. Dr. Nasir, I'd like to understand, our finance minister reaffirms his commitment to regulating and encouraging this digital economy and the industry by adopting appropriate frameworks, laws, incentives to ensure transparency, facilitate digital business growth. He also directs the stakeholders to formulate a framework that ensures security, transparency, regulatory compliance and economic viability, also while safeguarding against financial crimes and the illicit activities, because in the digital realm that is also quite relevant. Is that achievable for Pakistan? Is that achievable in a short term for Pakistan? And if so, as you said, there needs to be an involvement of those who have been in this digital realm since a lot of time. What more needs to be done?
I think there is no solution other than to adopting this technology. So that would be very clear. And I second what Vaqar said, we have to create a system where we start discussing with the private sector, because ultimately the user and the investor, they are all the private user, there is not the government. Government is only can provide environment, can create a facilitating environment where these people can make a transaction.
True.
So we need to very quickly start the discussion with the people, those are already working in these economy, in these digital currencies, and we must learn from them. And this is not a rocket science that we can't do that.
I understand.
If we are willing, we can transform the entire ecosystem of this digital currency within a month and a years. It's not like a system that can't be doing, because
what kind of time frame in your point of view is required?
I think if the government aggressively work and start making a rational decision in terms of defining the structure of this council, we need a like maximum 1 year to make a very robust system in terms of our regulation, in terms of the establishing the system, because we have the well established connectivity system. State Bank is very vigilant in terms of connecting all the banks, and they are now looking all kind of transactions. Every person is connected with the system through CNIC. If they have my mobile is connected with my CNIC, your mobile is connected with your CNIC, so it means our record is there. So we should take as a given and create a facilitating environment. This is not only important for this digital currency, but it is also important for creating and providing opportunity to private sector to make investment to the other sector as well.
Exactly. And
because ultimately that will help them to expand their own economic activities.
Agreed. Last question to you, Dr. Vaqar. Our finance minister talks about a balanced approach that encourages innovation and investment in digital assets while at the same time maintains strict regulatory oversight when it comes to this digital realm, which is in line with the international standards. When you talk of digital assets space that could align with our national interest, FATF guidelines and global financial standards, what more can be done in your point of view? We've highlighted some of the important issues. Dr. Nasir talks about a year with that it could take for such a council to be, properly implementable or in working condition. What's your take on that? Can we move around all of these guidelines that we've just talked about and still maintain a very robust digital system?
Yes. So I think what I foresee is that we will take the approach taken by United Arab Emirates. UAE has not given the task of regulating this to their central bank or to our equivalent of SECP. They have actually raised a virtual assets regulatory authority, which is very specialized, has people who have this specialized knowledge, have spent almost more than a decade or since the inception of these cryptos. They've spent time in this sector, So they've actually raised a new authority to manage, oversee, and develop the market for digital assets. It's not just that regulation should be prohibiting any sort of trading. Regulation also has to promote the market. The second important thing is that there'll be gains which have to be made. So people who are pushing for digital assets, of course, see that this is a market where gains can be made. So the other institution which has to up its game is the Federal Board of Revenue. So FBR will really need to pick up their game. They'll need to understand that how are these assets taxed? And countries have taken different approaches. So, for example, if I look at our neighborhood, India has a regime of around 30% tax on profits from crypto. Australia treats crypto just like any real estate, and the taxation regime is the same. So FBR also needs to understand what sort of tax regime would be put in place once the digital assets are traded.
That's a very interesting point, and I hope that all those who will be creating that National Crypto Council will be listening to this discussion, because it has highlighted many of the important regulations and principles that we need to adhere to in the formation of this council. Thank you very much, Dr. Vaqar, to have joined us and to have discussed this very important issue of the National Crypto Council that is being considered by the government to be created in the next maybe months, or I hope within the next year or so. Fingers crossed in that respect. Our second segment, ladies and gentlemen, continues on trade, but in this context we talk about the mutual trade that exists between Pakistan and Uzbekistan, two friendly countries, two brotherly countries that have always had a very strong relation in different realms. But now the interest is to increase that relationship and make it more robust in the trade arena. Our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is in Uzbekistan as we speak, so is our Deputy Prime Minister and more members of the delegation, including our Information Minister as well. And of course the basic aim is to not only highlight the important facets of the bilateral collaboration or cooperation between both the countries, but also add to the trade avenue that is a bit lacking as far as we know between both the countries, and take it to $2 billion US. This is the resolve that both the countries and both the leaders have taken during the mutual meet after having discussed this and more as far as Pakistan-Uzbekistan relations are concerned. Now, this bilateral relation that we talk about, this trade to $2 billion, is something that is quite achievable if both the countries work directly on it. Now, a similar agreement to boot his investments was reached with Azerbaijan during the Premier's official visit there as well, which he concluded yesterday. And of course, now he has departed for Tashkent on a 2-day state visit. Uzbekistan and Pakistan have already had important trade ties in the past as well. $1 billion US trade deal was signed way back in 2023. Well, not way back, in fact, a year and a couple of months back. Plans for further collaboration, including a roadmap for industrial cooperation, also shows the two sides' commitment to boost the regional connectivity. This bilateral meeting has had a very important, significance or effect as far as the bilateral relations between both the countries, specifically in trade, but also in different other avenues is concerned. Also Pakistan's point of view on regional issues such as Palestine, or Afghanistan. Both the countries are aligned on this and much more. And to discuss this alignment and of course the trade avenues that could further be explored between the two countries to take this trade to $2 billion US, we've been joined by two important guests. Let me introduce them to you one by one. First guest continues from our first segment, Dr. Nasir Iqbal, who's a leading economist. Our second guest is a specialist as far as Central Asian countries is concerned. He has, I think he's one of those who can, narrate the how to move forward in the realm of bilateral cooperation with any of the Central Asian countries in a whim of a second. He's none other than Khalid Taimur. Akram, thank you very much, Khalid Saab, to have joined us. I'll begin with you, Khalid Saab. Pakistan and Uzbekistan agree to expand bilateral trade to $2 billion US. Our Prime Minister meets with the Uzbekistan President, and this development is it continues in a spate of further developments in the realm of increasing trade between the two countries. How do you view this development? How achievable is it?
Yes, it is very much achievable because the Central South Asia concept was given by the Uzbek president a few years back, and Uzbekistan since then have been rigorously working to improve the logistic system between Central Asia and Pakistan. And the main project of this is the Trans-Afghan Railway Line. The Trans-Afghan Railway Line, since I was also part of the expert panel for that in Tashkent few years back. So the Trans-Afghan Railway Line project's feasibility was completed in year 2023, and now Uzbeks are very effectively working on that. And here I would like to mention, make a special mention about the Afghan government also, because after 15th of August 2021, the new Afghan government had terminated almost all the previous agreements done by the previous government. But this Trans-Afghan Railway project, they not only continued with it, but for the first time in Afghanistan, they have made a railway ministry. We have seen Pakistan-Uzbekistan trade increasing to $400 million US, but I believe this trade is going to exceed even $2 billion US because Central Asia, for complete Central Asia, Uzbekistan is a doorway towards Pakistan side, because if the goods are coming from Kazakhstan, if they are coming from Kyrgyzstan, if they are coming from Turkmenistan, because they already have a very strong logistic system among themselves. And but for coming to Pakistan and here onward going to Gwadar, the route is from Uzbekistan via Mazar-e-Sharif in Afghanistan and till Peshawar. So the Uzbeks now, they say that the Arabian Sea, in fact, it has come at the doorstep of Uzbekistan just because of the CPEC connectivity. And I think our Prime Minister's visit is very timely in this regard, and this will not only enhance this collaboration but also will help Pakistan's connectivity with the Central Asian countries.
So you feel that, just for example, taking one aspect of it, the proposed Uzbekistan-Afghanistan-Pakistan railway project is a very significant aspect of bilateral relations between both the countries, and could not only significantly boost trade ties but also open an avenue for Uzbekistan and both for Pakistan as well.
Yes.
All right. Dr. Nasir, coming to you, Pakistan and Uzbekistan's trade ties are nothing new. We have seen in 2023 the $1 billion trade deal that was signed. We have seen the roadmap for industrial collaboration as well, which shows an intent from both the sides to boost regional connectivity as well. How committed, in your point of view, are both countries as far as strengthening relations in the trade realm is concerned?
I think there is a win-win situation for Central Asian countries and Pakistan if they collaborate, because you know that the entire trade and the entire ecosystem, as we were discussing earlier, that it linked with the neighbor countries. So the Afghanistan would have one of the most significant country in terms of expanding our trade with the Central Asian countries. So the Afghanistan has a lot of incentive in terms of promoting all these kind of transactions, and Central Asia would be key for us in terms of searching new markets, because you know that there is a political economy in developed countries and there is a lot of competition over there. But for us, the Central Asian countries and even the Middle East countries, these are the green markets for us. We can have a leverage in terms of a very good relation with these countries, and also we can provide a lot of items to these countries in terms of our dairy products, in terms of our livestock, in terms of or other technology related equipment. So, we have to explore these very aggressively.
All right.
And this is like a golden opportunity, because our Prime Minister is there and now they are negotiating. But the question is how we can materialize all these stuff, because we already have in the past various MOUs, various bilateral agreement, various free trade agreement. But
the important is how to implement those in letter in principle, apply those.
The question is how we are forthcoming in terms of meeting the requirement of the rest of the world. Because we have to make sure the quality standard, because they are very conscious in terms of quality, in terms of standard, and we have to meet all those things. And for that, this regulation and the system should be supportive to make sure that we would provide a right item to the right people.
All right, that's an interesting point, and I hope the necessary authorities are listening to this. Khalid Saab, Uzbek President Mirziyoyev, after meeting with our Prime Minister, says that joint ventures between both the countries have exceeded 130, trade houses opened in Karachi and Tashkent, air travel launched between Tashkent and Lahore, and new routes are also going to be open as far as the air routes are concerned. Intergovernmental Commission is working effectively, and political consultations, business events and exhibitions of products have also been successfully organized. What more needs to be done?
I would say that whatever we are doing to connect with Central Asia, we need to focus on basically three things. First, we need to have an easy visa regime with Central Asian countries. We need to develop banking sector with the Central Asian countries, because right now there are practically no banking channel with the Central Asian countries, and I'm sure that we will very soon be having currency exchange agreements with them. Then we need to develop a single tariff regime, because since the goods will be transiting through various countries, although we are signing quadrilateral transit trade agreements also, but for Central Asia we need to develop a C5+1 model in which Pakistan and complete Central Asia should sit together. And right now, unfortunately, we do not have C5+1 mechanism between Central Asia and Pakistan, because if we will develop that mechanism, then we will have one easy visa regime system with them, then we can have banking collaborations with them, then we can have tariff collaborations with them, and then we need to develop a logistic policy also, because they have left-hand drive vehicles and we have right-hand drive vehicles, and what they plan is that they want to send their trucks right up to Gwadar. So it means that we need to have some kind of mechanism with them, because I have been to Uzbekistan and Central Asia many times. So the kinds of the trucks which they are using, they are not used in Pakistan. So we need to develop that kind of logistic policy where we need to enhance this connectivity by not only by rail, because the rail connectivity of course is going to take few years, but the road connectivity is already started. Right now the National Logistics Cells and few other private company trucks, they are already going to Uzbekistan, they are already via Uzbekistan, they are going to Kazakhstan and to Turkmenistan also. So this for us, Uzbekistan is a transit point to Central Asia. For us, we have lots of historical linkages with Uzbekistan.
Yes, we have.
Zahiruddin Babur, the Mughal Empire, and he came from Central Asia. If you go towards Multan side, in the South Punjab side, you will see the architecture which is very similar to Samarkand and Bukhara. So, and Pakistan also, as Muslims, we have a very historical linkages with Samarkand and Bukhara because of Hazrat Imam Naqshbandi, Hazrat Imam Bukhari. Lots of Pakistan, they go for pilgrimage to these places and to their mausoleums. So, as Pakistani and at this part of the world, this relationship is not new. This is a very old relationship, but now it is renewed because of the developed road connectivity through CPAC. And mind you, the CPAC is not only for China, the CPAC is also for the land-linked countries of Central Asia, because these countries are now connected through CPAC. And over here, again, I would like to make a special mention about Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, because he has been very vocal about Pakistan's connectivity with the Central Asian countries. We have seen few months back the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, in which he was very clear that for us we need to explore the regional market. For us, we need to go towards the regional market. We are the elder brother for Central Asian countries. And as we know that in this region, India has never admitted BRI. They have never been part of BRI. So they are practically secluded from this regional connectivity which is happening through the Belt and Road Initiative. All the 5 Central Asian countries, they are part of the China's BRI network. There are 3 BRI corridors passing through Central Asia, which is connecting China with Central Asia, and through Central Asia it is connecting China with European countries. And now this parallel corridor, this lateral corridor, which is known as the Central South Asia corridor, this corridor idea was given by President Shaukat Mirziyoyev, who is the president of Uzbekistan. This was his brainchild, that why not to connect Central Asia with Pakistan through Central South Asia corridor. So with this corridor, the Central Asian countries will not only connect with the Gwadar, but ultimately they want to connect with complete South Asia. So I think in times to come, Pakistan and Uzbekistan will play a very major role in connecting the Central and South Asia. And since we have our historical ties, and Uzbek president, because as I said, I go to Uzbekistan many times every year, and every time I go, I find that Uzbek president has given some new initiatives about Pakistan. They want to come to Lahore. They want to even renovate Shalimar Bagh, because all the heritage which belongs to the Mughal Empire, they totally own it, and they own us. They say that we have the same DNA. And today we have seen Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and President Shaukat Mirziyoyev, they were just sitting like brothers. They were not calling them as Prime Minister or President. They were addressing each other as brothers because of the historical linkages and these linkages.
I think these linkages are important, and these linkages need to be further explored, and I hope with this visit they will further be strengthened. Dr. Nasir, discussions on pharmaceuticals, textiles, lead industry and agriculture were highlighted as far as the realms in which our trade collaboration could further be enhanced. Also, our Prime Minister talked about the energy, geology and mining spheres as lucrative for the Uzbeks, and could further trade between them as well. How do you see these aspects? Do you feel some are more better than the others, or do you feel we should equally concentrate on all of these sectors?
I think we should equally concentrate, because that we have the potential in all these areas, like pharmaceutical, from the mining and from other areas. But the one thing that ignored, I must say, we should be focused on, that is the migration and the human trade, because we should have to create a system where our labor force could easily penetrated into the Central Asian countries, and Central Asian labor should also be visited Pakistan. So that could be another area. The next area would be, as mentioned by the other speaker, that we have a historical links. We have to create a tourism type of thing where the religious concept should be used to promote tourism, because that is an area where we have the potential. We have a lot of heritage, and as said, they own all these things. So the Central Asia would be our next destination to engage our productive labor over there, to have a strong linkages with them, not only in terms of the trade in physical goods, but also in the soft goods, in terms of services sector, in terms of exporting our labor, in terms of importing their labor. So these kind of a very deep interaction would give a win-win situation. So we have to expand on all these sectors rather than only focusing on one or two physically.
All right. I mean, this is what has been the aim of this visit. We've seen the different sectors that have been explored in detail. Khalid Saab, different MOUs have been signed to bolster collaboration between the countries. I mean, I can go on and on. MOU between Tashkent and Lahore, cooperation agreement between news agencies, youth affairs, science and technology, on fields of visa-free travel for diplomatic passport holders, military intelligence, internal affairs, professional and technical training, diplomats training, and also a joint declaration for establishing the Pakistan-Uzbekistan High-Level Strategic Council. Tell me a little bit about this Strategic Council. How important is this going to be?
Yes, the strategic council is going to be very, very important because Pakistan and Uzbekistan are facing similar kind of issues as regards as terrorism is concerned, as regard as illegal border crossing from the Afghanistan side is concerned, because on one side of the Afghanistan is Pakistan and on another side is Uzbekistan. So they are as vulnerable with all these threats as Pakistan is. So this strategic council will not only pave way for having a cohesive policy towards Afghanistan, but also it will help in facilitating the Central Asia Pakistan connectivity also. And I view that this is need of the time because as we know that in some areas the Afghan government has not been cooperating with Pakistan, but on the other hand the Afghan government has a very good relationship with Uzbekistan because Uzbekistan has been providing them with free electricity, with even free food items, and the Uzbek areas in Afghanistan, because there are lots of Uzbek ethnic Afghans in Afghanistan, and Uzbekistan has been looking after them quite a lot. So these are those areas where the strategic council and this organization the people from Pakistan and Uzbekistan, the senior officials can sit together and talk. Also, Uzbekistan is cooperating a lot with Pakistan and on the defense side because the Pakistani defense equipment is very famous in the region. Just I was looking just 2 days back, the Azerbaijani president, he openly in front of the media, he appreciated the Pakistani defense industry and he said we are very much satisfied with the defense equipment we are buying from Pakistan. And similarly, the other countries of Central Asia, including Uzbekistan, they are their reliance on the Pakistani defense equipment is increasing. So I think with this kind of strategic alignment between Pakistan and Uzbekistan, it will not only help in achieving regional peace also, and stability also, but the regional trade can also increase. And Uzbekistan can play a very important role as far as the for the regional peace, because Uzbekistan's engagement with Afghanistan is as strong as Pakistan has with Afghanistan. And I think if Pakistan and Uzbekistan, they will sit together with the Afghans, they will bring some sense to them to enhance not only the regional connectivity, but also to stop cross-border terrorism.
All right. Bilateral trade between Pakistan and Uzbekistan has grown, but has not grown as significantly as it is required. How will this visit pave the way, A, for increased commitment from both the sides to increase robustly their mutual trade and explore new avenues, as has been the case this time as well? These flight routes and this railway link between the two countries, how can both the countries, take full advantage of it?
I think if we look into the government vision, they are aggressively working on increasing the export, like they are saying that from 30 billion USD we have to move to the 100 billion. So if this is the ambition, then the first opportunity for Pakistan is to focus on these Central Asian countries, because we have the potential in so many areas, like as Khalid said, in defense, in mineral, in agri, in so many other areas. So we have the potential, and we have the same kind of culture where we can exploit all these kind of advantage and to create a win-win situation. So our industry should be forthcoming in terms of creating a dividend for these economies, because we have to be competitive. The Bangladesh is there and the other countries, they are competing with us. So we should be competitive, and government should facilitate all these investors and ask them, if you create some sort of export surplus, we'll give you the incentive. Just link those incentives with the export surplus.
All right.
Then probably the markets are open for us.
All right. Khalid Sahab, I'd like a short answer to this, but I wanted to ask you this question. Our Prime Minister looks forward to a mutually advantageous cooperation with Uzbekistan. This is in a statement by the Foreign Office. And here, he talks about a common vision for peace, prosperity and regional collectivity, and talks of shared values that both countries have and the need to work together for a brighter future. Does this common vision brighten the aspects of a stronger collaboration in the future between both countries?
Yes, it will certainly, because as I said that historically Uzbeks and people of this part of the region, subcontinent, they are very well connected. our Urdu language, it has inherited 5,000 words from Uzbek language. So if you go to Uzbekistan, you will find that as if people are speaking Urdu, because we inherited words from Turkish and Persian also, but 5,000 Uzbek language words are in Urdu language. We have a common legacy, we have a common history, we have and we have to now work together for a common future. So I totally agree what Prime Minister has said, that Pakistan is the only country who has a shared past with Uzbekistan, because as I said, after Zahiruddin Babar, he conquered India, then the United India. There was a lot of migration which happened from Central Asian side towards this part of the world. You will find Mughals, you will find lots of Uzbek ethnic people living in Pakistan. And similarly from this part of the subcontinent, people went over there. So these historical linkages
further accentuate the ties between both the countries. And you talked about a shared past, I talk about a shared present and a shared future, and a shared vision between the two countries that we are going to explore, inshallah, in the coming months and years. Thank you very much to both of my guests, Dr. Nasir Iqbal and Khalid Taimur. Akram Saab, to have joined us. We'll end with these two short stories. Kindly stay with us till the end of the show. Thousands of Canadians, ladies and gentlemen, have signed a petition to revoke Elon Musk's citizenship amid tensions between the Trump administration, of course, Canada. This petition opened to signatures around 5 days ago and accuses Mr. Musk of acting against Canada's national interest and undermining its sovereignty. In Canada, citizenship can only be revoked if someone has committed fraud, misrepresented themselves, or knowingly has hidden information on an immigration or citizenship application. And we all know that Mr. Elon Musk holds both the citizenships. The petition claims the billionaire has used his wealth and power to influence elections and has now become a member of a foreign government that is attempting to erase Canadian sovereignty. Well, let's see how this all bodes forward, but apparently this cannot be legalized in any way whatsoever, but it does show the intent of the people in Canada. Finally, a space telescope is to explore what happened right after the Big Bang. NASA is preparing to launch this megaphone-shaped observatory on a mission to better understand what happened immediately after the Big Bang that created this universe, as per scientists that initiated this universe, and to also search the Milky Way for reservoirs of water, which is of course a crucial ingredient of life and might give us insights into whether there is life elsewhere here as well. This mission will be of 2 years duration and will collect data on more than 450 million galaxies as well as 100 million stars in the Milky Way. It will create a three-dimensional map of the cosmos in 102 colors and individual wavelengths of light. So much to discover, so much to understand, so much to decipher. This universe is just a vast space that is willing for us to just enter it and see what it has to give to us. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we end today's Newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with new story segments apparent to us. You in Pakistan. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.